In continuation to our series of VBA programming, next we'll learn how to record a macro and save a macro enabled file in Microsoft Excel. We'll see how to write a very simple and basic macro. If you are not a developer and know nothing about programming, then too, recording a macro won't be a difficult task for you, because this is simplest and easiest method by which you can record a macro. Recording a macro will record all the action we do in this sheet. If we make font bold, underline or italic, or we work with data and sort it, filter it, or convert a range to Excel table and so on. So whatever we do in this sheet while recording a macro will record all the steps in the form of VBA script. Now, before we start, we need to understand and follow few basic things. Right now, we have a blank sheet with name sheet 1 and our workbook name is record and save a macro. Now, to record a macro, we'll have to go to developer tab and we can see we have a button here as record macro. Just below this button, we have a button called use relative references, which means that when we select this button, the macro recorder will use relative reference from initial cell. Just like in Excel, when we copy the formula which is not fixed with $sign from one cell to another, the relative cell address changes depending on the relative position of column and row. So, we have to select this option, use relative references. Next, we'll just click on record macro. As soon as we click on this button, record macro dialog box will open. Name of the macro by default is given as macro 1. We can change to any name of our choice. We'll name this macro as format. Next, we can even assign a shortcut key to this macro, which is optional, but it is always advisable to assign a shortcut key to the macro so that we can run the macro at a click of the button. The shortcut key can be Ctrl plus any other key. Now mostly Ctrl plus A to Z, all keys are already in use in Excel. So we'll press Shift and then any key, say O. So our shortcut key will be Ctrl Shift O. Next we have store macro in. Now since we don't want this macro to be used anywhere apart from this workbook, we'll keep this select as this workbook. And finally, we can give some description to this macro for us to remember what this macro does. So let's describe this macro as color, border, and type text in every alternate cell and click on OK. The moment we click on OK, our recording has started and the button now shows as stop recording. Even here we have a button as stop recording. So from now on, until we click on the stop recording button, whatever we do will be recorded in the form of VBA script. Now we'll go to Home tab and color the cell. Give it a border, type text and move our cursor to next cell, leaving one cell blank. That's it. And we'll now stop recording. So, we have done 4 things over here. We have typed text, colored cell, gave it a border and moved our cursor to next row, leaving one row blank. So all these 4 steps are recorded in our macro named format, to which we had assigned a shortcut Ctrl Shift O. Now if we play the macro, what should happen? It should write text in the active cell, color it, border it and then move to next cell, skipping one in between. So let's play our macro with the assigned shortcut Ctrl Shift O. So it worked exactly it was supposed to. It wrote the text, colored and bordered it and moved to alternate cell. So whatever steps we had done, it got recorded in the macro and now we can repeat these steps as many times we hit the shortcut Ctrl Shift O. Many times it happens that we forget the shortcut assigned to the macro. So at such times we can go and run the macro from developer tab, macros button. Here we can see list of all the recorded macros. So our recorded macro format is available here. To run this, we just need to select the macro, and if we hit the run button, it will again repeat the steps and move to the next cell. So there are two methods by which we can run the macro. If macro is assigned a shortcut and we remember it, we can use shortcut to run the macro. Alternatively, we can go to Developer tab, hit on Macros button and run from this dialog box. Now, what exactly happens when we record a macro? What actually gets recorded in the VBA script? If you want to see that, then we can click on this Edit button. And this will take us to the VBA script of the recorded macro. Now, this new window which has opened is called Visual Basic for Application Editor, that is VBA Editor, where we can write the code. So, whatever steps we had performed while recording macro got recorded in the form of VBA coding. Now, if you are not a developer, this part will be a bit difficult for you to understand, but I'll explain this in brief just to make you aware how macros are recorded in coding language. Subformat. Subformat here means that our macro name is format. Next, we have these lines with green color text and single quotes before each line. This indicates that these are comments for information purpose, and while playing the macro, these lines are ignored. Now, if you see this first bunch of lines, these lines just color the cell, and what should be the color of the cell is decided by this line, and this is the color code. Every color has different color codes. Next, these two lines when executes does not set any diagonal borders. Next bunch of lines executes to set left border. Next bunch to set top border. Then bottom border, and then right border. Next, these two lines when executes does not set any inside horizontal or vertical borders. This line sets the content of the active cell as text. And finally, it moves 2 rows down and 0 columns right. So, this coding part is recorded in backend. This was just for your understanding what happens in backend when a macro is recorded. You can just record macro and play without coming to this area if you don't find this interesting. But if you do, then stay connected. I will explain you every aspect of VBA programming in detail. Now, since our workbook contains the macro coding, it cannot be saved as a regular Microsoft Excel workbook, that is XLSX format. And this needs to be saved with some other extension, so let us see that. So when I clicked on save, it gave me a message: the following features cannot be saved in macro free workbook. And the feature Excel is referring is VB project. Further, it says to save a file with these features, click no, and then choose macro enabled file type in the file type list. And to continue saving as macro free workbook, click yes. So if we click yes here, then this file will get saved, but all our macro recording will be lost. So we'll have to click no, and then select macro enabled workbook from save as type list, and then click on save to save our workbook along with recorded macro. The extension for this type of file is XLSM. So I hope you understood how to record and execute a very simple macro and how to save a macro enabled workbook. So that's all for this video. If you found this video useful, please like and share with your friends. And if you have not subscribed to this channel, do it right now and press the bell icon besides the subscribe button so that you don't miss on any new videos that I upload. Thanks for watching.